Greetings, luminous, bright one. And this is the second course, second session for my self-mastery course. This session is about taking the next step, taking your studies so far to the next step. The first, if you recall, the first class or the first course was about studying the mind. Okay, studying the mind and getting to know what the mind is, studying your head, studying your brain. Studying your brain and knowing the different components or different parts of the brain and what their functions are. And really taking the time to study that to really gain a solid understanding of what the different components of the brain are, what they're called, and what they do. Okay, taking stock of what's in your head to understand what those things in your head does for you. Okay, the next step of this course is about taking stock of the things that you conceive or the things that you hold in your mind. Okay, that is your belief systems. Taking stock of all your belief systems, listing them all down, other things you believe about who you are, about your physical, your personal identity, your cultural, racial identity, your national identity, and beyond, religious identity, and beyond. Take stock of all of these, write them all down, okay? Write them down. And out of the lists that you write down, pick the ones that are limiting you. Look at the ones that you think, study them all, and look at the ones that you think are limiting you. An example, your beliefs about your physical appearance, what you're capable of. How do you look at yourself? What are your beliefs about yourself? How do you look at yourself? Your physical appearance. Do you find yourself attractive? Do you find yourself unattractive? Do you find yourself strong and fit? Or do you find yourself weak and unfit? Do you find yourself appealing? Or do you find yourself unappealing? Do you find yourself an attractive person? Are you pleased with what you feel or what you know about your physical appearance? Are you pleased with it or are you not pleased with it? That is one belief system about your personal self. What do you think you're capable of based on the physical appearance you're in? What do you think you're capable of? What can you do based on the physical appearance? Okay, list that down without judgment. List it down. Okay, list down your own personal appearance. Like I said, example. So this is one of the many examples. I'm going to give you 6 more examples that you can use to map out the system of listing down all your limiting or selecting all your limiting belief systems or limiting beliefs, the things that you hold in your mind. If you have any form of belief, any religious belief, any spiritual belief, identify the components of that belief that are limiting. You have any religion, what are the beliefs within that religion that are limiting you? An example, if you're a Muslim, a strict Muslim or a moderate Muslim, what beliefs within your religion is limiting you? If you're a woman, what beliefs within your religion are limiting you? For example, if you're a Muslim woman, you are not permitted to interact with specific types of men outside of your religion. And your religion is very specific about how you interact with men. So look at those beliefs and see the ones that are causing a limitation in any area of your life. If you're a Muslim woman and you want to interact, you want to grow your social sphere, or you want to expand your social sphere, social realm, your social status, but your belief system limits that capacity to a specific type of male, or specific types of people only. Women only, women of a specific class, men only, men of a specific group, and identify. Okay, and if you take it, you can even take it even further within the religious beliefs. Using that as an example within the belief systems. Okay, you're not permitted to do certain types of jobs, certain types of works. You are forbidden from doing certain types of things within Islam if you're a woman. And the same thing applies with all the religions. If you're a woman within Hinduism, within Christianity, the religions place specific limitations on what you can do and what you cannot do. Identify belief systems within your religion that prevents or limits you from certain types of things. That prevents or limits you. It limits you. in your quest to master your mind. Within Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, it is taught that an individual must surrender to the God they worship, or must give up power to the God they worship, and give their life to the God they worship, and allow that God to govern every area of their lives, to dictate how they live, how they think, even what they eat within those religions. It is taught that specific things are harmful and are forbidden by that religion, and you are only allowed to operate as a slave or servant of the God you worship. List out any belief system within your religions that takes away your own personal power. Cultural. The next one is cultural. Cultural belief systems. People who belong to specific cultures are forbidden or limited from participating in specific type of things. Native Americans, according to their culture, are only allowed to do specific, are limited in their functions and how they interact with people. Chinese have a culture, Japanese have a culture, Indians have a culture, South Africans, Togolese, most nations, when you go to the African continent, you find a lot of nations with a lot of cultures, and those cultures have specific rules and regulations and taboos that they place upon their people, limiting what they can do and pushing their actions, directing their actions in a specific manner. List those things. Cultural. This against some cultures in the world. If you're a woman, it is against some cultures in the world to approach men. If you're a woman, you are forbidden, or it's a taboo to do certain type of things within some cultures. If you are of a specific type of age, you haven't reached a specific level of aging where you're considered mature, within some cultures, you are prevented from doing certain types of things, i.e. getting married, having children. Cultures. An example, within the Tarawa people, located along the Indian Ocean in India, the Tarawa people, according to their culture, have to live off of nature. They do not embrace technologies. They forbid technologies and avoid them. They don't drink. They forbid alcohol. They don't interact or socialize with people outside of their culture too much. They limit interaction with people outside of their culture and keep mostly to themselves. Cultural. What actions, behaviors are limited by the culture you're part of? That's the culture you belong to. If you belong to any culture, place any limitations on you, any type of limitations on you in any area of your life that prevents you from being in full mastery of yourself. Okay, I'm talking about limitations that prevent you from being in full mastery of yourself by telling you who you are supposed to see, what type of person you're supposed to relate to, what type of people you're supposed to interact with, and so forth. So look at your culture, whatever culture you belong to. If you're Korean, Japanese, what culture you belong to. You're an Igbo, you're an Ashanti, you're a Ga, you're Fulani. You belong to specific cultures that place certain limitations on you, on how you live your life. List them out. List them all out. Racial beliefs. Racial. You belong to specific races. What belief within that race places limitations on you? What beliefs within your race places limitations on you? There are specific types of people, races on this planet today, that forbid breeding or interaction, intermarriages with other races. There are specific types of races that actually forbid people of that race from mixing with people beyond or other than their own race. For example, are the Arabs, who forbid and preach against mixing with non-Arabs, especially when it comes to creating family. Specific European races that forbid mixing with people outside of that specific race for a reason. Lest those things. Thus, your race prevents you from associating with other races for any reason. Thus, your race prevents you from doing specific types of jobs, from going to specific types of schools, from performing specific types of actions or acts. That's your race prevent that. List that out. Next is community and family. Community. The community you belong to. For example, the Yiddish in New York, Brooklyn, they have a strong community where people of that culture hang out. Okay? They hang out and they all live in a small, very tight-knitted community. And they all have rules and regulations that they are supposed to live by. That governs the entire community. They're limited from things they can do with people outside of their race. The same thing applies to Muslim communities in Philadelphia, where the Muslims gather in a specific group, keep to themselves in a specific area, and interact with each other and limit interactions with non-Muslims. Members of specific families who are held to a specific level within society among the communities were limited from interaction with the members of the community, or from doing certain things, limited and forbidden from doing certain things. An example is the caste system in India, where members of the lower caste are forbidden from interacting with members of the higher caste, where the lowest caste members are forbidden from doing certain types of holding specific types of positions within society and attending specific types of schools, achieving specific types of status within society. Members, specific family in the world. An example is the royal family of England, who are forbidden from doing certain things with the common people. And the same thing applies to a lot of royal families all over the globe, where members of the higher class are forbidden from holding specific positions in society, from interacting with certain types of people within society, going to specific types of schools, holding specific types of positions within society. List those things if you belong to any of these families. What are the things that you're limited from doing that are limiting your power, blocking your ability to master yourself? List those things out. If you don't have any, move on. But list anything within your life, your family's identity in a community, as well as your community's identity within a nation, a city-state, that limits your control over your own life, limits your movement, your interactions in any way. It takes power from you. Let's set up. The next one is rules, laws, regulations, taboos within society itself that places blocks or limitations on you. For example, sexes or orientation, how specific rules within society. Some societies, perfect example, laws that govern who can have sexual relationships with each other, laws that govern who can marry what, who can marry who. Law within the city or state that prevents people or that places limitations on people and what they can do. Some to protect, but some just to oppress. List anything, any law within your community that takes power, your own personal power, from you. Rules. And laws within society that tells you how far to drive on a specific highway to keep you safe, but also to tell you that you're not in charge. Okay? Rules that are in place within the state that tells you where you can go and where you cannot go, where you can sleep and where you cannot sleep. When and how you travel. Rules. List them out. Any rules that are within your community or your nation that takes power away from you, that limits your authority over your own self, your own life. List that down. Okay? Next is contracts that you have. Contracts that you have created with institutions, people, states that places specific limitations on you. Contracts that you have within business partners that tell you who not to talk to, when to do what, how to present yourself. Things that you're supposed to follow, and if you do not follow, things that will happen. Laws that are created within a contract that keeps you in bondage and under the control of some other power other than yourself that takes personal power from you. Contracts, laws within the contracts that limit you and take away your own personal power. List them out. List it out. Now, list everything that you think is within society that is limiting you. Anything within your life, your own family that you think, you believe is holding your power hostage, your personal power over your own life hostage. List that out. The next step is to take what you've listed one by one and analyze them a little bit further. Take everything you've listed one by one, okay, and expand upon them. Describe and define as much as you can in your own words. If you can't, don't worry about it. Expand it to try and understand how it is affecting you, how they are affecting your life. A perfect example with the religious limitations that are placed upon people. If you're a Christian woman, you belong to a church, and the church says only socialize with members of your church or members of your religion only. The church says that only socialize with members of your church, members of your community, or members of your religion only. And socializing with people outside of your religion, it considers a sin, or it forbids. If you are someone who lives under that type of control, and you list it out, to expand upon that, you state exactly how the church instructs you, how the church words its instruction for you, for your life. Do not associate with XYZ for XYZ reason. Do not do such and such. How the church defines it, that's how you begin. You list it out. Okay, once you list that out, then you expand upon how that applies to your life, how you apply that into your life. Because my church says such and such, my pastor says such and such, I do not do such and such, and I avoid a list of these type of people for this type of reason. List that down. Write that down. Just write it down. And this is how that makes me feel. It makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel disempowered. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel unsafe. It makes me feel controlled. Write that down. Just write it on how it makes you feel. If you're in a relationship where the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife tells you that you're supposed to be doing certain types of things, when, what you're supposed to wear, who you're supposed to see. If this is happening, you're living in a situation like that where you're in a relationship where the partner, one of your partners, the partner, is telling you how to interact with people. You have laws in place that you have to live by. You have to be home by a certain time. You have to dress a certain type of way. Speak a certain type of way. Act a certain type of way. Write that down. Write that down. List it. Expand. Write down exactly how your partner wears what they say. And then expand on your understanding, interpretation, and how that applies into your life and how that makes you feel. Write that down. Or the reason why you're writing these things down is you're externalizing or turning ideas in your head into words. Okay, when you turn ideas and things that you hold in your mind into words that you inscribe, what you're doing is you're reprogramming. Okay, you're reprogramming. So you're placing whatever it is that is in your mind, you're making a visual. You're making a visual. And then once all these are made visual, okay, once everything, belief system that you hold in you, that you have identified to be limiting, is made visual, is visualized, and you expand upon it, it allows you to see key flaws, and it allows you, I'll guide you. It allows you to see key flaws and things that can be addressed. And if you can't see them, then I'll guide you to do so. Part of this class is to guide you, to help you identify key flaws as you scribble, write them out. Okay, as you list them out, as you externalize them and make them visual. Once you put them into words and you see the words will begin to speak back to you. That's what this part of the class does. So go through each list and expand as much as you can in your own words. Write out, like I said, using the formula that I'm giving you. Identify whatever this belief system is and how it is pretty much given to you. And then expand on how you understand and interpret that. How that applies, or you apply that in your life, and how that affects you and makes you feel. Write all that down. For each list of limiting belief, limiting situation, contract that you have in your life, for each one of them, write out these things. And once you've identified all of them, take a break. Okay, once you've written them out, take a break from the process. Go and do something for a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, rest, and then come back and take the time to study them all. Read them. Read them a couple times over. I suggest you read them 3 times over. I know you just wrote them down and they came from you, but reading them over does something to you, to your mind, as you read them over, as you identify the limiting beliefs in you. And then what you do is, after listening out or expanding upon them and writing out how that they make you feel, each makes you feel, you go take another page and you place what you just written and expanded on the left, and then on a new sheet of paper, begin to identify each one, each limiting belief, and how you expanded on it. Begin to write out how you would like that specific belief system to be changed. If you want it to remain the same, you can leave it as such. I want this belief system to remain the same for this reason, such and such. I want this belief system to change for this reason, such and such. Write it down. Write down the same thing for each one, how you want to address each belief system, how you want each belief system addressed. You want it modified, you want it changed, you want it deleted, whatever you want, write them down. What you want, write them down. Okay, write them all down. And then take another plain sheet of paper, okay, and write down the outcome that you want out of this experience, out of this exercise, out of this course, the outcome that you want for you that will make you feel empowered, on a brand new sheet of paper. For each limiting belief, the outcome that you would like to happen within that belief system that you hold in your mind that will make you feel more empowered. Write it down. Okay, write it down. And then expand upon it. Okay? Expand upon it. Once you have all 3 papers, the first one containing all the belief systems and your expansion on them, that all your limiting belief systems and your expansion on them. The second one containing how you would like those belief systems addressed. You want them either deleted, you want to forget them, or you want to retain them. The second one. Okay? The third one, okay, contains what can be changed within the belief system that will make you feel empowered. What can be done to all the belief systems that you have, limiting belief systems that can make you feel empowered within the situation, regardless, based on the choices that you made on the second paper. If you want a belief system to remain in place and you don't want it changed, how does that make you feel empowered? Write it down. If it makes you feel weak, then you need to address that. So what you want is, on the third paper, you want to come up with statements, written statements, that empowers you out of all the limiting belief systems and the changes that you want made to them, how those changes will empower you. If you find that any of the belief systems that you have listed that you want changed, if you left anyone unchanged and weakens you, you have to have that changed. Understand? You have to find a way to have that changed. If you're having a challenge with that, then you can reach out to me and I can help you identify them. You don't, without violating anything within your belief system. And that one takes a little bit of studying, and it's a case-by-case situation. So if you have one of those situations, that you can reach out to me and I can help you. Okay, I can help you identify what needs to be identified. Okay, so after listing out the changes that can be made to the limiting belief system that will empower you, you pick up one last paper, fourth paper. And on this paper, you write out a solution, steps you're going to take in order to empower you to achieve the solutions to your belief systems that makes you feel empowered. Write out the steps of exactly how you are going to apply that. If you don't know how to do that, then you can reach out to me and I can help you. But at least attempt to do it on your own. Okay? Study each statement you made on a third piece of paper. The outcomes that will make you feel empowered. Write out the steps you're going to take in order to achieve those outcomes. Okay? Write them all down. Write them all down. List them all down. Okay? And then beyond that, you have to come up with a plan of how to achieve each of them. Come to me and I can help you. If you need assistance, if at that point you feel you can go on your own, by that point you'll be able to at least have an idea. Some of you may be able to come up with your own plan on how to move forward from that stage, after the fourth paper. Some of you may be able to come up with a plan in order to move forward. Those of you who do not or who cannot come up with a plan, you can reach out to me and I can help you accordingly. Okay? I can help you develop a plan in order to achieve mastery over your limiting beliefs. All your limiting beliefs. Okay? If you need assistance, you can Google or go on YouTube, look out searches. If you need more, if you can, for those of you who actually have the time and can do some extra work on your own, you can go on YouTube or Google, do a search on whatever limiting belief systems you want to transform, to empower you. Do a search, come up with a phrase that I like to do a search on them, on those topics on YouTube. After you come up with a plan, then the next step is to execute that plan. Execute the plan, execute those plans in order to overcome whatever limiting beliefs you have. That's the next step. Okay. This concludes the second course for my self-mastery course. And the next one, in the next course, we'll be taking this one step further, dealing with how to actually tap into the subconscious, into the higher programming aspect of the mind, how to tap into the deep programming aspect of the mind and be able to effectively address anything over there. That helps with people who may have challenges overcoming limiting beliefs, who may find it almost impossible to come up with solutions in order to break free from limiting beliefs. The next class takes you into the higher or deeper aspects of the mental programming. So it can help you understand the deeper aspects of dealing with deeper issues within belief issues that are so entrenched in our minds that we can't even reach the bottom if we stuck our whole hand in there. Okay? So the next step takes this a little bit deeper, and it allows us to gain greater insight into the deeper programming aspect of the mind. So we can restore control within our own mind for ourselves. Okay, for ourselves, for our health, and for our well-being. All right. So that's it. I want to thank you for listening. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'll help you. If you're shy, so be it. That's a limiting belief to overcome. Once you overcome it, then you can reach out and I can help you. So we can all achieve mastery together. Got peace? So with that said, I leave you with peace, love, and light. And I look forward to the next class with all of you. One love.